moving on, talking about hockey teams, the coach of the Ottawa Senators has been killed. He's been
what? He's been killed?
He's done. He's been killed.
Killed? I think it's a little dramatic.
Done. His job has been killed. Let me paraphrase that. Gone. Were you surprised, Phil, by him getting fired?
Paul Maclean.
I was a little surprised that he got fired, but the team has not responded this year. But they got the lowest payroll in the league. The lowest payroll. I think he made the mistake of making the playoffs the first 2 years he was there, and they really did a good job with the lowest paid payroll in the league. And they can't keep that up. But a lot of people said that he changed his style a little bit. He wasn't as friendly with the players. He wasn't this talking one-on-one and all that other stuff. I think he just got fed up too. I really do.
I think the stress got to him, to be honest with you. And there was a picture of him in the paper with his boss, Mr. Melnick, and they looked like they were very close friends. It was only 2 weeks ago. So I was quite surprised by the firing. But killing
I wasn't, because Brian Murray in June stated quite emphatically and very clearly that his coach was not doing a good job. I wish that Paul would become the Paul of the first year. Well, Paul of the first year didn't go through the shrinkage that Melnick has put them through. This team has gone from a middle-of-the-road payroll to the lowest in the league. And both Murray and Melnick think they should be just as good as they were when they were paying players more and having better players. They simply aren't good enough. And
he must have watched the movie Moneyball.
Yeah, well, whatever. It takes a magician to have the lowest payroll pay in the league to be a team in the upper echelon. They're exactly where they should be. In fact, they've overachieved. And you know what? I went through it once with a coach. Once we gave him an extension, he couldn't get out of Dodge fast enough. And this is what happened with Maclean. He got his extension.
Yeah, he just started a 3-year extension this season.
A lot of people who have worked with him, they think Maclean's a great coach, a great hockey man, a great hockey mind. But if you're racing in the Grand Prix, Billy, and everybody's got Ferraris, and you're driving a Hyundai. No offense to the people with Hyundai, but you're gonna have a tough time trying to win.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And I'm not trying to, because
wear a helmet.
I'm just saying that I think that there's some very talented players on the Ottawa Senators. I think they got a competitive team, but it makes it much more difficult when you are a small market team to go after some new blood, and I think that caught up with him, and I think that frustrated him, and I think where you're saying that he, in the latter part of his job with Ottawa, he started getting restless and angrier and lost his composure.
Well, when they played Pittsburgh and they played Vancouver, in Pittsburgh, they asked him if he was, did it bother him when they played Crosby and Malkin? He said, I'm frightened when they're on the ice. He said, I don't know, like he was implying, I don't know how to stop. He said, I'm frightened when I put my own players on the ice. In other words, Mr. Melnick and Mr. Murray, I am frightened all the time because they don't have good enough players. That's what he was saying. And he was fired that
But I want to ask you something, Phil. Is it that he didn't have good enough players, or he had a decent team, but he couldn't add any other components because he couldn't afford to?
I personally think that what Bill just said was right on, and only because, and then once a coach believes that and thinks like that, he's not going to do a good job, and he's just not. Well, they didn't get me the players, and once a coach starts thinking like that, well, you're dead. But let's put it this way, guys. Alfredson should have never left there.
Yeah.
That wasn't Maclean's fault.
No, that wasn't Maclean's fault at all.
Right?
Yeah.
I was shocked. I agree with you. I was shocked that they let Alfredson go. I was shocked.
Well, you know what they did in one drop, Frank, and this is Eugene the dancing machine. They dropped $13 million off their payroll, Spezza and Alfredson. Pretty simple.
There you go.
It's obvious what they're doing.
Right there. You're right, Bill. That's exactly right. They dropped $13 million off the payroll between Alfredson and Spezza.
And, from a fan perspective, I think the biggest thing here is we're never going to see that mustache on TV anymore. I mean, that thing's a thing of beauty. Unless Lanny McDonald's going to be the next coach, how are they going to replace that?
Who gives a... Holy...
I think, that's an important, that's very important that you brought that up, Carlin.
Absolutely. Oh, hey,
So the guy behind the glass who looks like Paul Maclean,
yeah, he'll be the next guy.
Lost his role, isn't it?
He got fired too.
Yeah.
So Phil, was this insubordination that if you feel it and basically you go public with it, you're gone right away?
I think the team wasn't performing. I think
That's true, but I'm saying for him to say it, no matter how bad it is, you got to button your lip. He basically went public, and I'm saying that's
you don't diss your boss, because if you diss your boss, you're going to be fucking unemployed.
Yeah, and you don't dish your players, you're going to be unemployed, and that's what he did. And the reason
it's sad that he lost his patience with his team. Sad.
Well, it is.
Hey, Frank, I mean, they just weren't good enough, and he wasn't willing to, and he had an extension in his pocket. Let them fire him. He's not going to quit. He got fully paid for 2 more years. He can go down and plant potatoes and PEI and make $1 million.